Hello, everyone. I'm Johnnie Taylor, City Manager of the City of Lexington, North Carolina, and thank you for tuning in to Queuing It Up today. I've got a special guest with me, Mr. Andy Thomas. And Mr. Andy Thomas, he has a lot of experiences across the planet. He grew up living all over the world as a military brat. He studied chemical engineering at Vanderbilt University and the University of Mississippi. He started working in the private oil and gas industry on the Gulf Coast for Exxon, Unocal, and Williams. He's moved to North Carolina and came to Lexington as the Gas Safety and Compliance Coordinator in 2007. And then he served as the gas engineer from 2009 until 2018. He's been serving as the gas director for the City of Lexington since then. And he also currently serves on the board of directors of the American Public Gas Association. Calasortes Martomius.
Well, thank you. I love being welcomed in Greek.
It is good to have you here today. And I want to get right into the podcast and
Sure.
ask this question. Mr. Thomas, how would you explain our natural gas services to our residents?
Sure. The city of Lexington's gas distribution system is one of 8 municipal systems in the state of North Carolina. The others are private companies like Piedmont or Duke Energy. Um, we're a local distribution system. We're completely in Davidson County. Uh, we're served off of the Williams Transco Interstate Natural Gas Pipeline that runs from Texas up to New York City. And fortunately for us, it runs in the western part of Davidson County, so we are a direct customer. We don't sit behind, another gas distribution company as a middleman. We are directly attached to the Transco system, and people often don't notice us because, of course, all of our infrastructure is buried under the ground, and so we're not widely seen. But just as a data point, if you took all of our gas mains and services that we have serving the customers in Davidson County and in Lexington, and you set all that end to end, it would reach from here to Kansas City, Missouri. That's
Man,
how much pipe we have in the ground.
that is outstanding. That's something to think about.
Sure.
So, as the natural gas director, what would you say your goals are when you come to work each and every day?
Well, the first goal always is safety. That
Okay.
is that is that is one of the prime drivers, if not the prime driver, of everything that we do. And so keeping the system safe and keeping the citizens safe is our foremost responsibility. And then coupled with that is the reliability of our system. We want to have as little downtime as possible, and any problems we respond to quickly. And a lot of people ask, what makes us better or what makes us different than other utility providers, and I always tell them, well, I can tell you this: if you're a customer of the city of Lexington, if you're a gas customer, you can find me. If you're trying to find Piedmont or the big guys, Duke, finding who someone to talk to is sometimes difficult, but they can find me and they can find you and they can find their city councilman if they can't find either one of us. So I like to say, we're local, and so you can find us. And so reliability is one of our main focuses, and coupled with that is customer service. We want to give the best customer service that we possibly can. We train our people, so I think about that, and then I'm always concerned with planning for the future. That's a difficult dice roll sometimes, but growth has been explosive on our system in the last 4 or 5 years. Industrial people are siting here, and so it's taxing our current infrastructure. So we have to keep ahead of that, so that when they come to ask us, well, can you serve us? The answer, hopefully, will always be yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to come back to that question. We're going to talk a
Sure.
little bit about the future in a little bit.
Okay.
But how can residents save money by using our natural gas system?
Well, historically, natural gas has been, well, at least in the last decade, has been the cheaper of the energy sources that you could use. I mean, we come in regularly cheaper than retail propane, fuel gas, even electricity. You know, we are the cheaper option. So, just from an economic standpoint, using natural gas directly in your home or business is the most attractive source of energy that you could use. Um, and of course, our rate structure is built that if you're in your home and you have more appliances, we can offer you a more attractive rate for the gas. And I think right now, if you have primary heat and primary hot water, and then you have two other appliances, a dryer, a stove, then you can qualify for that rate, which we call the natural choice rate. And so I encourage everyone to upgrade the appliances and qualify for our natural choice rate. And especially in the summer, when rates are historically lower than they are in the winter, any year-round appliances you have, just lead to a greater savings. A stove, a dryer, a pool heater. You can even people are building out now. We used to all have a a portable grill, but nowadays people are building more extensive outdoor cooking areas, and we are happy to serve natural gas for those installations as well.
Okay, so not only is natural gas cheaper, but it's also better for the environment and cleaner. How is that so?
I tell you what, I love making this argument because we get so much bad press because people are predisposed to, dismiss us as, oh, you're just a fossil fuel. And that's just bad for the environment. But, within the last decade, almost all of the greenhouse gas emissions reductions in the United States have come from the replacement of coal-fired electric plants with natural gas-fired electric plants. So we generate almost 40% of the electricity in the United States right now from natural gas. And coal burns much, I hate to say dirtier, but there's a lot more, byproducts from burning coal. So burning natural gas to produce electricity has just been a major step forward in reducing the amount of greenhouse gases that are going into the atmosphere. And we don't get the credit for being part of that great solution. And we have nothing against renewables, but right now renewables make up about 20% of the electric production in the United States. And so natural gas is happy to be there, and natural gas is the cleanest burning fuel with which to make electricity. And so we want to be part of the solution, and we do our best to do that. And right now, and we'll talk about this probably later in your questions, but I mean, we're trying to attract renewable natural gas into our system. You can make renewable natural gas from agricultural waste, food waste, and whatnot, even landfill gas. So we're trying to find those renewable gas sources as well to help be part of the solution even more.
Okay, so for somebody who may want to start using our natural gas service, what is that process? What's that
Well,
like?
the first thing you need to do is call the customer service center at the city and ask, inquire about natural gas service, and we'll take a look and we'll find out whether there's a natural gas main in your vicinity. If there's not, well, then we add you as an inquiry to our marketing work that we do, and eventually we get enough calls in a certain area that there's a preponderance of interest. Then it makes economic sense to extend a gas main to serve that area. Now that's a longer term solution, but if there is a natural gas main in your vicinity, then we'll set up a service ticket, and our marketing people will come out, collect the fee to connect to our system, and then our engineering tech will come out, find the right route, and we'll get you on as fast as we can.
Okay, So, what improvements are happening right now
Oh,
in our natural gas system that you're currently most excited about? If excitement is the right word, or excited.
excitement and trepidation
Oh,
is the right word. Um, it's an interesting story, and it's the right trouble to have, that there's so much growth going on in Davidson County and even in the city of Lexington. So you're able to say it's hard to plan infrastructure improvements because there's so much growth going on. But what I'm excited about is, for instance, we're considering and we're planning to do a third tap on the Transco natural gas system to serve the south end of our distribution system. Um, the, uh, uh, the industrial expansion has been, as everyone probably knows who lives here. I mean, Egger Wood Products has built a huge facility, over by I-85. Nucor Steel is coming in with their facility. Siemens Mobility is coming in to build train cars. Uh, the, the industrial growth on our system has been really extreme, and the the residential growth on our system has also been very, very extreme lately too. You know, 10 years ago we would work maybe one or at the most two subdivisions at one time, and a couple of years back we were working 19 at once in various stages. And so people need to understand that there's just so much growth going on in our system that we have been really, working our staff overtime to get all this in. And of course, we also have another plan to rebuild one of our existing tap stations as well off of Transco, and we've been successful in the last couple of years that we've been able to leverage about $2 million in federal grant money to help us do some of that expansion work, which is great for the ratepayers of the city. And so, we need to share that story as widely and as often as we can as well.
so what is something that residents need to know about your department that they may not currently know?
I tell you, and this doesn't get said enough, is that we have a staff of skilled, dedicated men and women who keep this whole thing functioning, right? I mean, they're out there in the dark, in the rain, in the cold, keeping the service level safe and reliable, and they just don't get the recognition that they so richly deserve. I mean, you and I can sit here on the podcast and talk about it, but I mean, those are the people
Right.
that make this whole thing work, and they deserve all the credit for our success. I'm happy to be the mouthpiece, but I want to make sure that the citizens understand that there is a dedicated staff out there working 24/7, and they just really do need to be appreciated.
Well, I certainly echo your sentiments, knowing how valuable they are and
Sure.
all the things that they're just doing day and night to make sure that our services continue.
And that goes for all the departments in the city, not just the gas department, all the
Right.
utilities, fire, police. People just don't realize
Right.
the dedication and the work that gets done by these wonderful people.
Okay, so I know we're doing all this work. We're talking about the various growth in the community. What improvements do you see the city benefiting from decades from now as a result of the work that we're doing currently?
Okay. Well, just a tiny bit of history, right?
Okay.
The first time that the city basically developed the gas system and tapped Transco for the first time was like sometime around 1956, 1957. And then for some industrial expansion for Pittsburgh Plate Glass, PPG came. And so in 1967, they tapped the Transco system a second time. And so for almost 60 years, we have been expanding our system based on those two taps. And 60 years is a pretty good run. And so as we began to see the growth in industrial and even in residential, uh, people here, we, uh, we finally came to the conclusion that, yeah, we're going to need a third tap on the Transco line. And so we've proceeded with that project. And so my hope is that, that tap is going to serve us for decades. maybe not 60 years like the first two, but it'll buy us decades of growth. And with all the industrial stuff coming in now, that just engenders more growth. People need to grasp that.
Yeah.
Lexington used to be in Davidson County, and we were pretty much a rural community.
Right.
But now we're sitting between, Charlotte's now in Concord and almost to Salisbury. So we're almost in an urban corridor now, and where we're sitting is becoming increasingly attractive to businesses and commercial interests. So we're shifting into a different paradigm of how we operate and how the city has to operate. So hopefully we're laying the groundwork so that the city can be successful long after you and I are gone.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Thomas, I think when we talk about things like taps and uh, folks may not fully appreciate the kind of cost that's associated with something like that. Could you kind of give just like and I know we're
A
just,
thumbnail,
yeah, just a,
some approximations.
yes,
Well, Transco is very proud of their pipeline system, as they should be.
right,
And it that carries most of the natural gas up the eastern seaboard. So when you come to Transco and you say, "Look, I need to tap your pipeline again and put in a metering site and a pressure regulating site on you," they're happy to do it for $5 to $6 million. And people need to understand you have to tap two of their main interstate lines. They have to put in metering, pressure regulation, odorization. We have to do the same, and all of this stuff comes at a huge cost. And then you have to connect that new metering station to your existing pipeline system, which requires infrastructure as well. So by the end of this project, you're looking at 16-18 million dollars. But what the citizens need to understand, yes, we're spending that much money, but part of the deal is to keep gas rates low, you need to expand the revenue base, right? So we want more residential growth. We want more industrial growth. And so as that grows, that buys down what you're spending on capital projects.
yes, and
So,
and then
so,
also,
so right. In other words, they're not. We're not going to say, okay, we're going to do this big project, and you're going to pay right
right,
now. No, no, no. We're going to buy down your future cost.
right, and an expansion of the system is just a win-win because you don't have a few folks paying for the cost of the whole system,
Right,
and it's spread out over the whole system, the whole customer base,
right.
which is beneficial. Um, I think that's good because I know sometimes we throw these words around and individuals may not realize just how much cost is associated with it.
Any utility infrastructure just comes with a huge number. And even it's easy to understand just the infrastructure of the streets, for instance.
Right,
Street repaving, that's another infrastructure cost that just people can't grasp how much money that actually costs the city to take care of.
and so when you couple the streets with the fact that you may actually have gas infrastructure underneath the street, and then we have failures that we have to repair. So not only are you dealing with gas infrastructure, now you're also dealing with street infrastructure, and the cost is just immense.
It is immense, but this is all necessary, the work that needs to be done. And I would just make sure that the people listening understand that we do everything always with the thought of how can we impact the citizens the least. You know, we try to keep our cuts to the minimum. We try to do our work as efficiently as we can. So we're not living high on some hog here. We're always trying to keep the cost down because, of course, we don't like raising rates on our customer base
Right.
anyway. And so one way we do that is by making sure we do things efficiently. And then the other way, as we've already discussed, is to grow the revenue base.
So I know that we have some federal um, kind of mandates coming down that impact how we do business.
Sure.
Can you talk about a couple of those just for?
I mean, the big one that we're facing right now is that the federal Department of Transportation actually is responsible for the safe operation of pipelines in the United States, and they have I don't want to put people to sleep, but there's the Pipeline and Hazardous Material Safety Administration, which is part of the DOT, which specifically takes care of the pipeline infrastructure. And they have a couple of mandates that they're working right now. The most impactful to us is a new leak detection and repair rule. So they're overhauling how they want all of the gas system operators to search for leaks, quantify leaks, and how to repair the leaks. They're tightening up the measurement standards. They're tightening up the time frames that we have to respond to things. I mean, obviously, an emergency response is one thing, but if you have leaks that are just minor, that are hard to get to, hard to find, there is a time frame on those, but they're tightening those up a lot. So we're going to have to respond to all of this, and one of the ways we're responding to it is in the next year at some point we plan to dedicate a crew that's going to do nothing but do leak detection and repair on the system as a now that's one of the things we do, but now that's going to be a dedicated crew, and that's all they will do.
Okay.
So that's one, and then right now there's a push for reducing methane emissions, because of course natural gas is mostly methane, and we do, as a natural part of our business, there is methane that is emitted, and so there are new rules coming down that they want us to quantify, recapture as much of the methane as we do. For instance, instead of just blowing it down to the atmosphere, they would like us to cross compress it. There's another term that nobody will get, but they would like us to, instead of venting things to the atmosphere, to go about trying to capture it and re-inject it into our pipeline system, which is a great idea, but that's going to come with a cost and a time component as well. So they come with these mandates, and we have to respond. And I'm
Okay.
not saying any of these are bad ideas.
Right.
It's just it's going to be an overhead and a cost to our operation. We're glad to bear it, but it's going to be a stretch
Okay.
for what we do.
So I've got one final question.
Oh,
This is my time machine question. So uh, if we could push a button and pop out of this thing in 2034, where are we in regards to natural gas?
hopefully, natural gas rates will not be totally elevated. I mean,
Right.
inflation is one thing, but natural gas has historically been, the low cost energy source. Hopefully, by that time, we still will be. Um, it is our hope, and I speak as this is the gas industry's hope, and it's another point that needs to be made. We want to make sure that we protect the direct use of natural gas, because everybody seems to want to electrify everything, and that's fine. But remember, natural gas is used to produce most of the electricity in the United States. So it's very inefficient to produce electricity to run a heat pump as opposed to a direct fired gas heater. You know what I'm saying? So you burn more gas to make the electricity to run a home heating system than you do if you just burn the natural gas at the home in the heater. So if we want to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, then we need to protect the direct use of natural gas at the end source and not just at the power generating plant. So that's what I hope I see.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. Well, thank you, Mr. Thomas, for being here. It's been very, very good.
Oh, I love talking about natural gas. It usually puts most people to sleep, and I'm sorry if we did that, but I love talking about it.
I think there's still a way. So we'd like to thank Mr. Thomas for being here with us today. And to learn more about Lexington Utilities and our natural gas department, visit lexingtonnc.gov. Go to the government tab, click on departments, and visit the natural gas page. For updates on future episodes, follow us on Facebook at City of Lexington and on the streaming platform you're listening to this episode on. If you learned something new and got some value from this podcast, leave us a review or a thumbs up. We'll see you on the next episode of Queuing It Up with the City Manager.